After letting one slip away last week against an Eastern Conference powerhouse, Toronto is back in action tonight, looking to leave their imprint on the USL playoff race. Jordan Hamilton and Mo Babuli scored in last weekend's 3-2 defeat to Louisville City. Tonight, it's a rematch from the Ontario Soccer Centre opener as Rob Vincent and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds come to town. Quillen Roberts, Skylar Thomas, and the rest of the TFC2 defense will have their hands full tonight with the USL's leading scorer. Hello everyone, welcome to the Ontario Soccer Centre in Toronto. I'm Matt Antonio, joined by Chantel Blais. Tonight it's Toronto FC2 against the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and let's take a look at the starting 11 for both sides. Starting with Toronto. They are led by Quillen Roberts back in goal. He leads the USL with 5.6 saves per game. He's third in the league with a 1.00 goals against average. Second in the league with an 846 save percentage. And Mo Babuli up front. He is tied with Jordan Hamilton for the team lead with 3 goals. On the other side of the ball, it's the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They are led by Rob Vincent, 16 goals. That's good for a tie for first place in the USL, including a hat trick last week and a 3-0 win against Wilmington that snapped a 3-game losing streak for the Riverhounds. He earned himself USL Player of the Week. Tonight is the third and final meeting between these two clubs this season. Pittsburgh has outscored Toronto 7-1 in winning the first 2 contests. Chantel, for a third straight week, there's a USL top scorer coming to town. How does Toronto FC contain Rob Vincent?
Vincent is a very active midfielder. He is always in motion, so Toronto's back line will have to keep eyes on him at all times. They must make sure to communicate and pass him off if they need to. They can't give him the time on the ball. They can't allow him to create scoring chances. And while they're focusing on Vincent, they must make sure they're keeping an eye on Kevin Kerr as well. Their connection and their duo has been dangerous. Kevin
Kerr tied for first in the USL with 19 assists. He's tied for third in the league with 4 game-winning goals. 4 of his 8 goals this season have been game winners. For Toronto FC, too, the offense has woken up over the last week and a half. Over their last 3 games, including the friendly against AS Roma Primavera, they have scored 5 goals in 3 games after just 1 goal in the previous 7 matches. What has been the key to the offensive resurgence?
The team has been shooting more. They're drawing more fouls in the attacking third, which allows for set pieces, which they've capitalized on, but they do still need to make quicker decisions when it comes to if they should take a player on or pass the ball. And I think if they do that more successfully, they'll be able to come out with a win and be able to play with these strong teams.
Tonight is the final game of Toronto's 8-game homestand. It began on a positive note with a 1-0 win at BMO Field on June 27th against the Wilmington Hammerheads, but just 1 additional victory since that point. They sit at 2-5 through the first 7 contests, having been outscored 9-4. As mentioned, Pittsburgh comes in after snapping a 3-game losing streak. They beat Wilmington 3-0 last week. They are currently in 6th place in the Eastern Conference, 3 points up on Harrisburg City, who have 3 games in hand. So this is a vital game for Pittsburgh in that Eastern Conference playoff race. And Toronto perhaps looking to play the role of spoiler. Pittsburgh coming into tonight's action just 2-6-1 as the visitors this season. And of course, one of those was the 2-0 victory over Toronto FC2 on July 8th, which was opening night here at the Ontario Soccer Centre. We'll have more on tonight's matchup following the national anthems.
Let's go together and sing the Canadian national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, sit back and enjoy TFC2 versus the Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
It's Toronto FC2 and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Some additional lineup notes for you. For Toronto, we'll start with Wesley Sharpie. He is back in the lineup on the reserves list for tonight's game. He has been out since June 27th with an ankle injury, so head coach Jason Bent said he trained all week and he is ready to go tonight if needed.
Definitely, and when I asked Bent, he said he's going to be excited to get back. He had a full week of practice, and this is actually the last week they're going to have a full week without traveling again. So it was a good week for him to kind of get back into the thick of things.
Adam Bouchard not available tonight. He picked up a bit of a knock during the first half of last week's game. Massimo Mirabelli has been injured since that friendly game against AS Roma Primavera. He is not available tonight either. Mark-Anthony Kay draws back into the starting lineup. He had been replaced by Mark Sargent for the past 2 games. No Jordan Hamilton in the starting lineup for the 3rd consecutive game, despite the fact that he scored in the second half off the bench last week against Louisville. For Pittsburgh, they will have a different goaltender tonight. It is their 5th keeper they have used this season. It's Jose Gonzalez, a former Mexican under-20 team player, and he is on loan right now from FC Dallas. And of course, we know all of the dangerous players in the Pittsburgh roster, but some of the players not available for them tonight. Goalkeeper Ryan Thompson, he is out with an inflamed knee. Drew Russell also has a knee injury. Vinny Dantas, he is out with a heel injury, and Connor Donovan is not available tonight. He has been recalled by Orlando City SC. So it's Toronto in the red uniforms to our right, and Pittsburgh in the black and white uniforms to our left. Pittsburgh, the highest scoring team in the USL with 42 goals this season. In their last 4 victories, interestingly enough, I mentioned they snapped a 3-game losing streak, but their last 4 victories have all been shutouts. So you have to wonder, if they concede a goal, do they lose?
Well, if we're cheering for Toronto FC2 here, that would work out for them.
Another interesting stat that I found looking up some of the numbers, Toronto FC2 has the fewest yellow cards in the league, just 23 this season. And you know that head coach Jason Bent will be pleased with that, as it shows a very disciplined aspect to his team.
Definitely, because you wouldn't have thought that the first couple games they had a couple ejections, they had frustrations kind of taking over, but I think that shows as the games have gone on that they've grown as a team and they've kind of learned how to stay composed.
Pittsburgh will begin with the ball to start. It is a very, very nice evening for football. Virtually no wind tonight, a very comfortable temperature. We do have a very glaring sunset to the northwest, which is to the upper right corner of your screen. I imagine by about the half-hour mark of this first half, that will no longer be an issue. But we are underway here in Toronto. Pittsburgh Riverhounds looking to sweep the season series against Toronto FC2 with 2 previous victories. And in both of their previous games this season, if I am remembering correctly, it was Alex Bono in net. He was definitely in for the home opener here, as Quillen Roberts was up with Team Canada. And just checking the match log here. I am corrected. Quillen Roberts was in the net in the 5-1 loss on Saturday, April 25th. So you know that Quillen Roberts will be looking to get a little bit of revenge for the 5 goals surrendered in that match and the 3 surrendered last week. Other than those 2 games, he has been spectacular for Toronto this season.
Definitely, and it just shows, if you look at his numbers, how strong of a goaltender he is. So tonight, especially I think his performance last weekend, he wasn't as happy and pleased with how the outcome went. But today, he'll definitely come out guns a-blazing.
Now, interestingly, right before kickoff, Rob Vincent was ordered off the pitch. I'm not sure if there was an equipment issue that needed fixing, but as of right now, he is still standing at the scorer's table, and he has not entered the match just yet. As we're a little over 90 seconds in, Toronto's been playing up a man, and that advantage is even greater because it's the most prolific scorer in the league this season who has not been on the pitch for the Riverhounds.
And normally in that instance, they kind of just run on in as the play is continuing, but I think they're going to wait for the final whistle because he didn't start on the field before the game started.
That is Anthony Arena playing it forward to midfield for the Riverhounds. Danny Earls wearing the captain's armband for the visiting squad. Fajiro Okioma will send it long down the left flank. And looking to run onto it there is Mike Green. And with the first out of bounds of the evening, Rob Vincent will check into the match for the first time. Green on the sideline, waiting to throw in. He's got 5 teammates who have settled into the box, and looks like he will try to throw it right in. That's off the head of Liam Frazier. Marcos Nunez gets a foot to it, and it's cleared, but only as far as Rob Vincent, and Pittsburgh will maintain the possession. Moloto. Dahlman. Quick touch there with Kevin Kerr. But Toronto will counterattack. There's Mo Babuli. Babuli has Sal Bernal with him up front. Babuli will now stop, look for a different passing option, and he finds it in number 59, Emeka Ononye. Frazier through the middle. Bernal is chipped forward. Nunez will run after it against Willie Hunt. And Hunt will be able to shield Nunez. The ball stays in bounds. And now Hunt able to spin away from Nunez only momentarily. And Toronto has won it back. Bernal trying to cross the field over for Rivas, but it is Kevin Kerr who is there to collect for the Riverhounds. Earls. Hunt. And that is deflected and has gone out of bounds. And it will be a throw to Pittsburgh. Willie Hunt shaken up on the play. Limps over to the sideline, and he will be the one to throw in. 4.5 minutes played here in Toronto. Still looking for our first real scoring opportunity or dangerous looking play, as both sides have been relatively conservative thus far. This one cleanly up by Moloto, but he is dispossessed, and Toronto will push back. A little too far up for Babuli. And there is Anthony Arena. He had the second goal of the 2-0 victory on July 8th. It was a tap-in the crease after Toronto brought Alex Bono up into the penalty area for a late corner kick. And When Toronto lost possession, it was a race to the goal line, and Anthony Arena got there first and was able to tap in a pass for the clinching goal. There's Bernal, able to shift his way around Matt Dahlman. There's Mark-Anthony Kay. Now Aparicio, Edwin Rivas. Aparicio, unable to get a touch. Here's Babuli, he's brought it down, and he's not able to get another touch to it. Good defending there. And Jose Gonzalez was right up on the ball as well. Moloto, kept in far side by Green. Rob Vincent. Long pass, switching the field, finds Dahlman. Rivas there to provide the defense. Moloto up for Green. Green will run it down. No, he will not. It looked like he was going to be able to get there, but he could not reach that ball before it rolled out of bounds. And, well, they'll say it was off a Toronto player anyway, so no real urgency for Green to have gotten there. And it will be the first corner of the evening. It's gone to Pittsburgh. We are just shy of 7 minutes in. That's come down, and it's going to be cleared there by Nunez. And now Babuli will collect this. Babuli with a little bit of open space, but no support as of yet. Now some arrives. Babuli will whip it across the field. And Sal Bernal will run onto it. Bernal crossing into the area, looking for Rivas, but it's up off a header of Stephen Oki. Babuli with a strike. That is deflected, and it rolls harmlessly to the goal. And Gonzalez will scoop it up and roll out to a teammate to begin the counter for the Riverhounds.
In the first couple minutes of the game, both teams kind of feeling each other out. No real scoring opportunity there, and that's offside, but kind of giving back and forth. No one's really showing their, especially being a high striker, you don't want to show, A, how fast you are in the first couple minutes because you want to catch kind of them off guard. So I see in the next 10 to 15 minutes it kind of pick up the pace of this game.
Headed forward by Aparicio. Volley back the other way. And that lands to Skylar Thomas. There's Aparicio. Pass for Bernal. Misfired. And the Riverhounds will collect with Vincent. Should mention that, you know, that we talked about the last 2 weeks. It was Dane Kelly and Matt Fondy who were shut down by Toronto. It was Adam Bouchard who did a very good job of keeping those two scorers in check, and no Adam Bouchard tonight, so it will be a little bit more of a committee defense to draw the assignment of those top players.
For sure, and I think Skylar Thomas taking control back there will be up for the task. You just have to communicate and make sure to continue to pass those players off, and just make sure they...
Second time in about 40 seconds, the officiating crew ruling against Toronto. Dahlman will throw in. Kay is able to knock it down. Mononier. It comes right to Dahlman, however. And good defending there from Toronto, swarming the ball, and it will be Rivas. Now Bernal. Boaki. Long ball looking for Babuli. It comes down off the head of Arena. There's Bernal. He's stepped on the ball and slips, but from the seat of his pants is able to free it up for Edwin Rivas. Crossed in for Babuli, and it's just wide. Oh, that would have been an absolutely glorious goal for Mo Babuli. He has his hands to his head, and he knows he just missed that one.
They need to keep this momentum going. Beautiful play. It started in the back. They built it up. He made no mistake. It's just unfortunate, not on target, but the way they're playing right now, they need to keep this up and remain consistent and not have those lapses that they've had in the last couple games where the other team kind of takes the momentum back and capitalizes.
Gonzalez was in the middle of the net, absolutely beat Mo Babuli, maybe another 8 inches to the right, and this game would have been drawn level. But that's the second quality scoring chance for Toronto in the last 3 or 4 minutes, and they are certainly starting to break through that Pittsburgh wall and generate the chances. This will fall down to Rivas off a deflection. Played in for Mark Anthony Kay. He will bring it into the area. He takes a bump from Dahlman. Kay will try to get around Dahlman again, but it is a sliding challenge from the Pittsburgh defender that goes out of bounds and will be a corner, this time finally called on Toronto, and they will take it, their first of the night here in the 28th minute. And important to note that when these two teams met back on July 8th, it was a 2-0 Pittsburgh victory. Toronto was without several key players for that match, including the man standing over the ball right now, Mo Babouli. Played short, Babouli will win it back into the area, but he was swarmed by defenders and not able to control. Babouli tried to head that down from Aparicio. Unsuccessful, and it's back out to midfield. Frazier backpedaling, and he is just able to get it away as Rob Vincent was right behind him looking for that loose ball. Nearly half an hour played here in Toronto. The Riverhounds lead by a score of 1-0. There's a goal from Rob Vincent, his USL leading 17th of the season. Nunez. That's a handball here to Toronto, and will allow Pittsburgh to push forward. And once again, taking all the time they need to get play back underway. Mark Anthony Kay goes up and wins it for Toronto, but it is right to Matt Dahlman, and will give the possession back to Pittsburgh. And now Dahlman looked like he had given it away. There's Kevin Kerr, played in. There's a strike, and it's a goal, curled in by Fajiro Okioma. Correction, that is Lebo Moloto, number 22, with the left foot, a little bit of a breakdown in the back for Toronto.
It was a little miscommunication. The ball that Dahlman seemed to have passed through, it looked like it was a giveaway. Two players, I'm assuming, thought that the other one was going to go to it. Went through, was perfectly placed. And the difference between Toronto and Pittsburgh right now is Pittsburgh's capitalizing on all the opportunities that they have provided for themselves.
For Moloto, that is his third of the season. And it has given Pittsburgh a 2-0 advantage. And just minutes after Mo Babouli missed, tying the game at 1. Now there's a deflection, loose in the 6-yard box, and it is pounced on by Quillen Roberts. Nike is a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike Soccer information. Nunez. Okioma.
And Matt, you touched on the pace that Pittsburgh has compared to Toronto right now. Holding a 2-0 lead, they're going to want to just kind of keep possession, and they don't have to push right now. They can just kind of play around, get their players involved, and not really go forward at all times. And that's going to be frustrating for Toronto. So Toronto needs to take possession back and kind of up the pace and take control of this game again.
Nunez trying to win that ball away from Willie Hunt, unable to do so, and Hunt will chip forward for Rob Vincent. Vincent gets around Boaki, Vincent into the area, and it's stopped by Roberts. Roberts looking quickly to his left, but now will hold on. weighing his options. And now will boot it out of his hand up for Rivas. Rivas trying to play over to Babuli. That didn't connect. And there's Kerr. Kerr, long ball, hoping for Green to run onto it, but it's Quillen Roberts who will run onto it instead. And this time he will move it quickly to Manny Aparicio. Mark Anthony Kay, Edwin Rivas. Again Kay, Aparicio. Liam Frazier. Bernal. Pressure in the back from Arena. And he's won it up for Pittsburgh. Green, Kerr. Curls in there looking for Moloto. Dahlman tried to cross that, and it's a diving Edwin Rivas who knocks it out of bounds. And this will be a corner to the Riverhounds. And maybe a little bit interestingly for Toronto, we reserve goalkeeper Alex Bono pacing up and down the sideline, doing a little bit of stretching. And perhaps head coach Jason Bent considering a switch if Pittsburgh is able to net a third in this first half.
And sometimes it may not be a knock to Roberts. It could just be kind of change it up, have a new face in net for the other team to look at. Because both those goals were actual brilliant goals and well placed.
Green will come down with it, and it rolls along to Rob Vincent. Now O'Kee. As played up by Nunez, looking for Babuli, but well out of his reach. Babuli did have a lot of open space, and with a little bit less power on that up ball by Nunez, could have been a dangerous opportunity for the Toronto striker. Roberts. Rivas does well to cut in there and freed up with the header, but it comes right to Anthony Arena, who will now play it back for his goalkeeper, Jose Gonzalez, and now Gonzalez will pick it up and take his time moving forward. About 10 minutes to go to halftime. It's 2-0 Pittsburgh. Roberts up for Liam Frazier.
Being down 2-0, it'll be interesting to see if at half Bent kind of changes the game plan. If he does put Hamilton on, if he does kind of switch and get more offensive minded.
Bernal played forward for Babuli. Babuli carries it in the area. There's a cross, there's a deflection, and Nunez will have to run to it, and it's knocked out of bounds by Willie Hunt. All USL regular season and playoff games are available live, free, and in HD on YouTube. Connect with the USL YouTube channel today. Free kick one here.
Pretty sure
by
Fraser
Pittsburgh.
may get carded for doing that, but maybe just a warning at first, yeah.
There's Hunt, chased down by Boaki. Hunt able to keep it in. Moloto carries into the area, and now it's Boaki who will dispossess up for Babuli. Arena counters with defense for the Riverhounds and will force Boaki back to Toronto territory. His pass for Frazier, caught up in the legs. Pittsburgh will control, and that's gone out, and it will be a Toronto throw. Blackie with a volley high up for Babuli. He's unable to come down with it, but it's put right back onto his foot. Now Babuli with a through ball looking for Bernal, and out of his reach, and Gonzalez will step up to it and send it back to Toronto territory. Aparicio. Blackie, Aparicio. Aparicio still with it. He is taken to ground there and will be a free kick to Toronto. Taken quickly, Blackie. Thomas. Ononye. Rivas. Kay. One touch intended for Aparicio, and that's gone well out of bounds. There's Mike Green at midfield now. Malotto looking to play up for Kevin Kerr. Good defense there from Kay. Earls. Hunt. Chip up for Green. And Toronto will counter. Nunez, intended for Babuli. Taken instead by Arena. Dahlman. Long up, taken by Ononye. Push forward. Kay. Bernal. Nunez. Thomas. Mark Anthony Kay. Dispossessed, and now it will be taken by Amika Ononye. Liam Frazier. Ononye. Aparicio. Ononye. Kay. Rivas does well to keep that in. Unable to push forward. Kurt taken down with a knock in the back from Mark Anthony Kay. Dahlman will take the free kick. We're about 5 minutes away from halftime here. 2-0 Pittsburgh. Goals from Rob Vincent in the 11th minute and Lebo Molotto in the 30th. Out of bounds will be a Toronto throw. And once again, we've seen the pace of this game just almost screech to a halt.
It hasn't. The last couple of seconds, Toronto had the possession, but it wasn't dangerous possession. If you're a team who has a 2-0 lead, that's not a problem. Go ahead, pass all you want back there, but if you're not attacking, then you're just killing your own clock. But one thing I've noticed is that Toronto, they're not playing like a system. They're too much space between each unit. Mobabou is doing a good job getting involved, but then when he gets too far back, there's no one up there to even be an attack. So I think going forward, or something that will have to be touched on at half, is to be playing more as a unit and working together off the ball.
Liam Frazier played forward. It's collected by Willie Hunt of the Riverhounds. Frazier steps up to dispossess. Babuli trying to get around Arena, unable to do so. The support comes from Earls. And Pittsburgh will now clear back to midfield and all the way down. Quillen Roberts just outside of the 18-yard area. Frazier. Okay. Aparicio, good challenge there from Dahlman. Frees it up, Rivas. Bernal. Ononye. Nunez knocked off the ball, gets up and unable to carry it forward. Okioma. Dahlman. Kevin Kerr. Dahlman chips forward. That's well out of bounds. Oki. One touch there from Maloto, and a little bit of contact there coming from Ononye, and that's won the Riverhounds a free kick. This will be Matt Dahlman to stand over it. Pittsburgh has positioned themselves into the area. Dahlman will run up, lob it in. It's out off the head of Edwin Rivas. Played back in by Vincent. Big swing from Sal Bernal. Doesn't clear very far. And now here's Maloto. Good sliding challenge there from Ononye, and he's knocked it out, and this will go out for a corner to the Riverhounds as we are about 30 seconds away, just approaching halftime here in Toronto. Goals from Rob Vincent and Lebo Maloto have given the Riverhounds a 2-0 advantage. Played in, and it's chipped well over the goal. A good attempt there coming from the defender, Anthony Arena, who had pushed up into the penalty area for that corner kick. The result, of course, is a goal kick to Quillen Roberts. He's been beat twice this evening. That's now 5 times in the last 2 contests, but both goals were pretty spectacular from the Riverhounds in this opening half. It was Rob Vincent who got things going in the 10th, 11th minute. It was a one-touch strike, an excellent shot from maybe 25 to 30 yards out. Beat Roberts high, didn't really have a chance on it. And then some miscommunication in the 30th minute for the Toronto FC2 back line allowed Lebo Maloto to walk in, and he curled one around Quillen Roberts into the left side of the net. And that is where we stand at the end of 45 minutes. Toronto had some opportunities when they were down 1-0. Mobabuli, the best of those opportunities. He headed a cross from Edwin Rivas, maybe 8 inches left of the left post. And it was that close to drawing Toronto level, at least for the moment. And unfortunately for Toronto, it was not to be at that point. And moments later, Lebo Maloto was able to go in and score to put Pittsburgh up 2-0. There were no bookings in that first half, and as Chantel and I mentioned throughout the first half, it was a first half with a little bit of a slow pace. Right now we'll go down to sidelines with Chantel Blais, who is standing by with a special guest this evening. Chantel.
Thanks, Matt. I'm here with David Wagner, Vice President of Competition Operations for the USL. And David, overall impressions of the expansion so far this year?
It's been great. Obviously, we had a lot of new teams come on board this year. We're up to 24 clubs. I think it's been really, really successful and great for the league to go from 14 to 24 and pretty seamlessly. We have great groups like TFC2 here and a lot of new ownership groups, so it's been working out really well.
And do you feel that this league has helped in assisting the MLS teams?
I think so. I mean, part of why we have this partnership with the MLS was to benefit them as well. I think they've seen a lot of benefit out of it. You have a lot of guys that are getting a lot more minutes, a lot more experience here in the USL, and overall, hopefully benefiting the MLS club in the long run as well.
And can you touch on the more expansion in the next couple of years?
Sure. Obviously, we've recently announced a new team down in the Rio Grande Valley. We're going to have another few announcements coming up here soon within the next few weeks. But the league's growing, both in the East and the West, and we have a lot of new quality ownership groups coming in that we're excited about.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming. Thanks guys. Back to you, Matt.
Thank you, Chantel. Very insightful interview, shedding some light on the future and the current state of the USL. There you see it, 2-0 at halftime for the Riverhounds. Rob Vincent and Lebo Maloto, the goal scorers. We'll have the first half highlights and the second half action in about 12 to 13 minutes, so make sure you come back and join us for that. You're watching Toronto FC 2 Soccer on TFC Live.
I'm here with Jason Bent. Jason, after 45, down 2-0, what does the team have to do to get back into this game?
Well, we're getting into the middle to attacking third, and players are just trying to flick the ball rather than play to support, so we can't get into any sort of rhythm because we constantly give the ball away. Second of all, we're trying to hit the final pass when it's not on, so that stops our rhythm or stops the team from getting into a rhythm. And ultimately, at this level of football, you can't give up 2 easy goals where we basically gave them 2 gifts. It's very difficult, so now we're playing behind the 8 ball, and we got to push the tempo, we got to keep the ball and try to create a few more chances, and hopefully we can get ourselves back in.
And can we expect to see any changes to help you guys offensively?
Well, we've made a couple changes. Alex Bono's coming into the game for Quillen Roberts, and Jordan Hamilton's coming in for Marcos Nunez. So hopefully that provides us a little bit of energy.
All right, well, good luck in the second half. Thanks, guys. Back to you, Matt, for the highlights.
Thanks, Chantel, and we'll get right into those. It starts with the goal from Rob Vincent. That is his USL leading 17th of the season in the 11th minute. Got things going. There's a long strike from Manny Aparicio, not nearly enough pace to it. Mo Babuli with a good opportunity off the set piece on the free kick there. A good diving save from Jose Gonzalez. And then the best scoring opportunity of the night for Toronto. Babuli headers it wide. Here is the second goal. It is Lebo Moloto who puts it in and makes it 2-0 Pittsburgh. Rob Vincent with an opportunity for his second, but Quillen Roberts was there to make the stop. On that second Pittsburgh goal, an assist given to Kevin Kerr. He is now in sole possession of first place in the USL with 9 helpers on the season, and you heard head coach Jason Bent outlining these substitutions for us. Alex Bono is into the match. He will take over for Quillen Roberts. So a little bit of a tough luck performance for Quillen Roberts tonight. Not sure we could fault him on both or either goals, but looking for a little bit of a spark. Head coach Jason Bent has made a change at the last line of defense. And he's made a change up front as well. Jordan Hamilton scored a goal off the bench last week, his 3rd goal of the season. He has had a little bit of a snake-bitten season as well. I'm sure he believes he can have much more than 3 goals on this season. He is in, Marcos Nunez is out. So 2 substitutions for Toronto, none made for the Riverhounds. And we are underway here in the second half. Toronto with a big hill to climb to get back into this one. Liam Frazier played that in, and it is easily handled here by Jose Gonzalez. We apologize for the technical difficulties we experienced during the first half of our stream, and hope that we will be able to provide the second half to you without any further glitches. Gonzalez pushes it forward. It's off the head of Lebo Moloto and now swung out wide to the right. That's Kerr. Kerr crosses it in. There is off ahead, and it rolls harmlessly away for the moment. That's Vincent who collects it. Vincent will bring it in towards the middle. He is marked closely by Manny Aparicio. And Aparicio is able to help thwart the danger for the Riverhounds. Willie Hunt into the middle, looking for Danny Earls rather. Okioma. Dahlman. Ononye. A little bit too far for Liam Frazier. Now Mark Anthony Kay. Stephen Oki. Arena. Bowaki. That's out of bounds. Will be a Toronto throw. Bowaki throws in for Jordan Hamilton, his first touch of the night. He is marked very well by Anthony Arena, and it'll be collected by Rob Vincent. And this one is off the foot of Sal Bernal. So 3 attacking players for Toronto right now. I guess you could say 4. Sal Bernal, Mo Babouli, Jordan Hamilton, and Edwin Rivas, an attacking player as well, as they look for some offense here in the second half, Chantal.
Definitely, and just talking to Jason, he said they aren't playing badly, it's just the decision-making, and this decision-making is what's going to be the difference in the second half. You have strong offensive attack, you have dangerous players, but it's getting the connecting passes and making the proper decisions in the attacking third to go forward and kind of get back into this game.
Not sure, maybe reading between the lines a little bit too much, but the tone in Jason Benn's voice certainly sensed that there was some frustration and disappointment with how his team has been playing this evening.
You could definitely sense the frustration, and I think it's not just him, it trickles down to the whole team. Like he said, the first goal was a brilliant shot, but you're giving these players who you know won't make mistakes when they're given that opportunity. So it's on your own side, not allowing them to even be provided those opportunities.
Is pushed forward by Anonye, looking for Rivas down that left side. Now collected by Okioma. Given away, comes to Bernal. Bernal pushes forward for Babouli. Babouli lost it momentarily, is able to get it back. Aparicio, Liam Frazier. Frazier chipping it in, looking for Bernal. He was being pressured and had to get it away quickly. And I think that may have led to the lack of direction on that pass. Thomas back for Alex Bono, as mentioned. Bono taking over for Quillen Roberts here at halftime. And Quillen Roberts, who has been so spectacular all season for Toronto, has now allowed 5 goals in his last match and a half, as he will not be given the opportunity to finish this one off.
And even in this game, there was, I think, 1 or 2 times he actually made a save and was able to clear it out. But the other 2 times were the only 2 times they shot and they capitalized on it. So it wasn't like he was tested too much, but they just made no mistake when they were given those opportunities.
Frazier. Have you visited the new USLsoccer.com? Get the latest news and live stats, and check out the new social media hub. Jose Gonzalez plays that long up for Pittsburgh. Through the middle of the field for Toronto is Babouli. Chipped up, looking for Jordan Hamilton. Gonzalez well out of the goal, out of the 18-yard area to free it away from Hamilton. Now Skylar Thomas. Aparicio up the right flank for Boaki. Boaki crosses in, and it's right to Jose Gonzalez. He will catch it and hold it.
The idea was there, just the execution. That ball could have been dangerous, but it's right at your keeper. Gonzalez did a good job in his positioning there to cut that off.
Jose Gonzalez in his first match of the season for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. He is on loan from FC Dallas.
And he hasn't been tested too much, but when he was, he has stepped up and looks quite confident in his own net.
Frazier heads that down to no one in particular, and it's collected by Earls. Vincent. Vincent will swing it wide to the right side, looking for his running mate Kevin Kerr, but it's out off the head of Mark Anthony Kay. And will be a throw in for the Riverhounds. And substitutions for both teams continue to warm up behind their respective goal lines. 2 subs made by Toronto at half, none made by the Riverhounds. That's played forward by Willie Hunt. Finds Rob Vincent. There's Malota. Moved in for Hunt, cross to the middle. Comes down for Malota. Then he will not be able to find another teammate from there. But Pittsburgh has done well to regain the control here. Vincent, Hunt. And this one is out of bounds and will be a corner here for the Riverhounds. And Vincent will be the man to take this one. That's curled right into Alex Bono, who will catch it without any difficulty. Rolls it forward on Onye. Mark Anthony Kay. Mobabuli. Thomas. Boaki. Bernal. Boaki. Pressure coming hard from Maloto. Boaki. Frazier. Aparicio. Looking for Bernal. That's knocked away by Vincent. Aparicio pulls down Maloto and will give a free kick to the Riverhounds here. Has some good footwork and good passing from Pittsburgh, forced Toronto into that foul. Kerr. Vincent.
One thing Pittsburgh's so good at doing is switching the play of attack, which spreads Toronto so far that they're able to find those little breaks in the defense. And how we saw in the second goal how they did that, it was a weak pass, but it worked because the defense are so spread across. So that's one thing that if you're going to take away from this game, Toronto needs to start doing that more.
That's out off the head of Ononye, so it will be a corner kick for the Riverhounds on the far side of the pitch. And that corner to the left of the Toronto goal, manned by Alex Bono. And it will be Matt Dahlman who will take this corner. Played in, off a foot, up in the air. Rivas will head it forward. Babuli will chip out for Hamilton. And Toronto will begin the early stages of a counterattack. Babuli, cross looking for Bernal. It is chested down by Vincent. He moves it forward. He and Boaki come together. The Toronto defender has won it. Aparicio played up for Boaki. Boaki, and that's an offside. Sal Bernal a little bit ahead of the play there.
The idea was there, it's just executing that a lot quicker.
Become a fan of the USL on Facebook for exclusive league news and interactive content. Here's Mark Anthony Kay. Aparicio. Skylar Thomas. Long ball up, looking for Hamilton. And Gonzalez is out and will play it with the head. Deflection there. Bernal nearly wins it back. Unable to do so. Thomas heads forward. Kay comes down with it and back for Bono. Thomas, Babuli looking for Boaki on the one touch. And right out of bounds. Thrown in by Hunt. Kerr will receive, but it's given away. And out, and now the deflection is off Toronto, and will be another throw to Pittsburgh. Aparicio, a little bit too hard on that Touch there, Frazier for Hamilton. Hamilton, and now Rivas. Rivas looking to cross in, saved by Gonzalez. It comes into the area, and Bernal gets a foot into the midsection of Willie Hunt. And unfortunately, none of the ball. And Pittsburgh has cleared, and now it's Kevin Kerr. Mark Anthony Kay steps up to intercept, and Kay will push forward. Mark Anthony Kay looking to work through towards the middle. Now we'll hold it in on the left. A touch there from the Riverhounds defender, just a little bit away from Jordan Hamilton. Aparicio looking for Babuli, and it's intercepted by Okioma and sent down into Toronto territory, where Amika Ononye will find his keeper, Alex Bono.
And there again, we see the idea is they're in the proper position to be dangerous, but it's the decision making with a lack of either taking the shot or creating another opportunity for someone else to take it. And then getting caught offside. So it's just a lack of communication coming together as a unit for Toronto right now.
See a second look at that most recent chance from Toronto. Originally off the foot of Mark Anthony Kay, and Willie Hunt a little bit banged up. Jose Gonzalez out to take this free kick. Delivers it in. Moloto goes up. Toronto is able to push it forward. Babuli. Now Bernal. Bernal, his cross is deflected by Willie Hunt, and this will be a Toronto corner. As we are just shy of the 1 hour mark here in tonight's contest. 2 first half goals from the Riverhounds have them in the advantage right now. Babuli will take this corner. Plays it in, off ahead of Rivas, and it's up over the goal. Another good idea there from Toronto, and Rivas got up there. He was the first one to it, but he was not able to bring it down far enough and put it into that Pittsburgh goal. And we'll see our third substitution of the night for Toronto. It's going to be Anthony Osorio checking in. Manny Aparicio coming out for Toronto. And we have not gotten a confirmation of it, but believe that older brother Jonathan Osorio may be in the building tonight after playing for the first team this afternoon in their 3-1 loss to Sporting Kansas City. And the Baby Reds not faring much better this evening. It's a 2-goal deficit for them as well. Jordan Hamilton trying to reverse that, but he's unable to get a foot to it in the penalty area. And now Pittsburgh will control. Dahlman. Long ball up. Will instead find Skylar Thomas. Thomas now wearing the captain's armband with the halftime substitution of Quillen Roberts, who had been sporting it in the opening 45. Thomas with ferocious defending there, and he wins it away from Moloto, but unfortunately gives it away as a pass to Jordan Hamilton went awry. Jose Gonzalez up for Matt Dahlman. Stepping up there is Boaki. Boaki taken down there from Moloto, and it will be a free kick to Toronto. And Boaki down in some discomfort as he is holding his knees close to his chest. And we see he got his feet tangled up there and perhaps rolled an ankle.
Looked, yeah, like an ankle. And was going with pace as well, so it was probably a hard knock, but he'll probably just step off.
No, he is
Oh,
being
he's
subbed
getting
out here. I believe he was going to be subbed out anywhere. We saw Wesley Sharpie come to the sideline, and this is the position that Wesley Sharpie plays. It's the right back position. And this is a sight for sore eyes for Toronto fans. Wesley Sharpie's been out since June 27th with that ankle injury suffered against Wilmington at BMO Field. And so he makes his return. And there's a header off that free kick as Gonzalez was out, and it's just knocked away. And interesting opportunity there for Toronto.
Seems like Toronto's best chances today seem to be with headers, which is promising for set pieces and for getting in there, but still unable to capitalize after 63 minutes.
So Sharpie returns after missing a full 6 games and making it back into the lineup in the final game of this homestand. He has not played since the first game of the homestand back in June.
And Sharpie, like Kay, are both very offensive-minded defenders, so it will be nice to have him back on the pitch, being able to contribute offensively as well as being solid in the back four.
And I think maybe a little bit understated how much Toronto has missed the presence of Wesley Sharpie on that right side. They've gone through a carousel of other defenders. Is played in, comes down to Bernal, and they're going to say a foul on Toronto here as they went up and there was some contact. And so the promising opportunity for Toronto is blown dead before it can materialize. Headed forward by Thomas. Hamilton able to get it down as well, but stepping up is Willie Hunt, and we'll push it forward for the Riverhounds. Thomas fighting with Miloto. Sharpie will get his first touch, and that's off the leg of Rob Vincent, and it's gone out of bounds, and Sharpie will run up to take the throw in, getting himself involved in the early stages of his entry. That's given away by Babuli Kerr with a strike, and it's up over the goal.
One thing positive about that is Babuli was so far back trying to help defensively, but with a pass like that, you're just giving away another freebie like the second goal was.
And Kevin Kerr, with 8 goals on the season, was unable to push it to 9. And I believe that's Osorio, who was pulled down on the far side. Dahlman is the offending party for Pittsburgh. Will be a free kick. And while they set that up, we remind you to follow @USL on Twitter to become a league insider. You can join club conversations and have a chance at exclusive giveaways. It's going to be a yellow card to Matt Dahlman on that play as well. Babuli curled in. Gonzalez able to get the hands to it and hold on. That's our first caution of the night, going to Matt Dahlman. And shortly, we will see the first substitution of the evening for the Riverhounds as well. Milo Chabrillo has come over to the scorer's table, and we see I believe the flag just at midfield across from us is a Russian flag, and I believe there is Chabrillo written on that flag. And so I expect a bit of a cheer for Milo Chabrillo when he enters the match shortly. Long ball, they're looking for Kerr, but it's Sharpie who's able to get the head to it before the USL leading goal scorer is able to get there. And now Bono will move it out for Skylar Thomas. Babuli. Osorio. Anonye. It's Mark Anthony Kay. Gives it away. Collected by Dahlman. Now Maloto. Hunt. Frazier. Kay. Babuli. Thomas. Osorio. Bernal. Thomas. Hamilton able to work himself around Anthony Arena, but unfortunately the ball went sailing by as well. And right to Jose Gonzalez, and that will end any thoughts Toronto had of attacking.
Toronto's back line has done a pretty decent job, especially Skylar Thomas, on getting the first ball. But it's the second ball where they lose the possession. That's when they get the counterattack. But you can't knock them for getting the first. Thomas has won every ball in the air, but when he sends it to his middlemen, they're not there. So it's not really gonna. You can't build off a disconnected play every time.
Free kick won here by Toronto, right at the edge of the penalty area. And some frustration from Sal Bernal as Willie Hunt was unwilling to give the ball back to Toronto. And still some arguing between the opponents here as they position themselves inside the penalty area. Babuli from a little bit farther out than this in the first half, curled one right on goal and forced a diving save from Jose Gonzalez. What does he have in store this time around as we approach 70 minutes played? Babuli right into the wall, gets it back. It's deflected off of Thomas and cleared by Pittsburgh. Now Thomas able to head it down as he's still pushed forward. Thomas goes down hard and nothing called from the official. Thomas is still on the turf in some pain, and while that's going on, Pittsburgh has pushed forward right into the area where Skylar Thomas would normally be defending. And will the Riverhounds be able to take advantage of this? Maloto. O'Kee. Brought down by Green. Thomas back in position now. Green will push it all the way out to Matt Dahlman. Earls. Dahlman. Kate does well to get the body positioning there to force the ball through. Collected by Thomas. And now this is out of bounds. The deflection will give Toronto the throw-in, and now we will see the substitution. It is Stephen O'Kee coming out for Miro Chabrillo.
Number 7, Stephen O'Kee. Entering the match, number 9, Miro Chabrillo.
And the cheer from the Miro Chabrillo supporting section does go up as he is introduced. And now he will take his place on the pitch. The first substitution utilized by the Riverhounds this evening. We have just under 20 minutes to play here. Toronto down by 2 goals to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh looking for their 3rd victory against the Reds this season. And their 2nd in this building. They have just 2 road wins on the campaign. And they will be looking for a 3rd overall and a 2nd here in Toronto as they look to move themselves up the ladder in the Eastern Conference playoff race with their sights set on Richmond, who are ahead of them in the standings right now.
And their win against Wilmington did snap quite a couple game losing streak. So they, with the win tonight, they would kind of switch the momentum and start going forward. And what a time when you're so into the mix for playoffs.
That's played back to Bono a little bit into his midsection area. Had to be very careful not to handle that. Would have course, resulted in a penalty. And I'm sure that pass from Liam Fraser giving him a mini heart attack. Bernal is onside, brings it down. Rivas unable to control. Now he does, but he's got to work his way through a number of Pittsburgh jerseys. And now it's Fraser out for Bernal. Crossed in, and Osorio unable to get ahead to it. It was deflected by a Pittsburgh player. And now Babuli has won it back. Babuli crossed in looking for Hamilton. Arena is up, and the head will send it away. Bernal whiffs on that as he comes together with Moloto. Vincent. Hamilton. Moloto. Mark-Anthony Kay just inside the midfield line for Toronto. Now Jordan Hamilton, that will be a free kick as Kay was taken down there, and it's going to be the newcomer, Miro Chabrillo, who gets the yellow card here. 74 minutes in.
In that tackle or contact with Kay, knocked his cleat right off, so he'll be taking a couple seconds to put that back on.
Babuli plays it in. That's off ahead of Anonye, I believe, but it falls to Okioma. Now Kay with his cleats reattached. Arena heads that up. And it comes down right onto the foot of his teammate Matt Dahlman. Nike is a proud partner of the USL. Follow at Nike Soccer on Twitter for all the latest Nike Soccer information. Booted up by Gonzalez. We are about 15 minutes away from full time here. Still a quarter of an hour to go. Toronto will be looking to at least break that goose egg and find themselves on the score sheet. Lebo Moloto, he has the second goal of tonight's contest. He carries it in. That's crossed in, and it does not find its intended target. And now Osorio will play it up for Toronto. Vincent with a sliding challenge there, and is able to deflect it off of Rivas, and will be a Pittsburgh throw. Goal kick awarded here to Toronto. As similar to in the opening half, Pittsburgh really bogging down the pace here and content to, I guess, just play out these final 15 minutes. They know that the points are nearly secured for them at this point. They have done so well to limit Toronto's chances all season up to this point. And Sharpie with a quick free kick there. Gets it through the debris. Rivas with a cross. That is brought down by Bernal, but right into the middle of the area where no Toronto players were waiting. Sharpie. Florida native swings it into the middle. Again, no one there for Toronto, and cleared back out by Dahlman. Moloto.
Once again, Pittsburgh showing how good they are at switching the ball. It seems every pass that they attempt to make the switch is always accurate.
That's off the head of Skylar Thomas, and this will go out past the end line, and it will result in a corner for the Riverhounds as they search for their third of the night.
And again, you see with the pace, there is no urgency to take this quick or anything. They just like the lead, they'll hold the lead and try and take control of the game, keep control of the game.
Played short. Now Earls. Frazier, intended for Hamilton. Out of reach, even if he had received it. There were 4 Pittsburgh players around him. Kerr. That's off the head of Sharpie. Comes down for Malotto. There's Chabrillo, and he scores! Miro Chabrillo, in front of a small cheering section, has pocketed the third goal of the evening for the Riverhounds.
Number 9, Miro Chabrillo. Number 9,
And there again, it just looks like a little bit of miscommunication, kind of following the ball rather than keeping an eye on where the player was. And once again, Chabrillo coming in late in the game, making no mistake when he's given that opportunity.
That's his third of the season, so he joins
substitution for Pittsburgh.
Lebo Malotto with 3 goals on the season. And Malotto will now be subbed out, and entering is number 18, Boris Zivanovic. So it's a 3-goal advantage now for the Riverhounds. Sharpie. Bernal. Again, Sharpie. Frazier.
And after that third goal, you can kind of see on the field, Toronto FC 2 a little deflated. 2-0 is one thing when you're down 3-0.
Rivas with an opportunity, and it looked like he flubbed or fanned on that shot there. He was in a great scoring position, a great shooting position, and did not really test Gonzalez on that attempt.
And if he were to capitalize on that, that kind of would have lifted up the spirits a bit, but digging yourself out of a 3-0 hole will be quite difficult.
Reminder, all USL regular season and playoff games are available live free and in HD on YouTube. Connect with the USL YouTube channel today. Osorio swings it out wide. Bernal giving chase. Hunt will slide and chip it forward. Sharpie. And it's a foul called on the Riverhounds. The Pittsburgh bench was yelling, no foul, no foul. But a foul was committed. And to clarify, that was yelling before the play took place to the players not to foul, not yelling at the official that there should not have been a foul. Now Babuli looking for Bernal, but it's Arena once again who is able to get the boot to it and clear to midfield. Far side of the field. Kate brings down Mike Green. And I believe he will be cautioned for this. Yes, he will. It is a yellow card for Mark Anthony Kay. And the fourth substitution for Toronto. It's Raheem Edwards coming in. Sal Bernal is checking out. A little bit of a difficult showing for Sal Bernal tonight. Not receiving the ball well, not dishing the ball well, and probably an appearance that he'll like to improve on moving forward.
He made decent runs, and he actually, of a lot of the players on the pitch tonight, off the ball movement was there. It was just executing, creating the opportunities as well as trying to capitalize. It just wasn't there, wasn't clicking, but putting Edwards out there will add pace, even though they haven't really shown any pace, even having Hamilton out there. But it'll be interesting to see how quick he can get involved in trying to add some pace on this right side.
Edwards was not in the lineup last week against Louisville City, but he had a strong showing against Charlotte, and he had a strong showing in the friendly against Roma. So he's looking to build off that. Those were his first appearances coming back from the Pan Am Games. There's Green pushing forward. That's Chabrillo. Chabrillo has scored moments ago. Looking to add more. Crossed in. Edwards there to clear for the moment. Pittsburgh still with possession. Arena. Now Hunt. Earls. Vincent. Out off the head of Anonye. Trying to chip it back in, and now this is won back by Toronto. Bono. A low hard kick will find Babuli. His attempt to switch the field is played all the way down to goalkeeper Gonzalez. And that's one of the main differences that you notice between these two clubs, as you've mentioned several times tonight, Chantel. Pittsburgh able to switch the field very easily, very powerful crosses across the field, land right on the intended target. And for Toronto, they seem to be off by 10 to 20 yards each time.
Yeah, and every time it does, it seems to be going to, in this instance, Gonzalez, which then you're giving away your possession. But on the other hand, Pittsburgh makes no mistake, and every time it's always a very dangerous attack.
Hunt crosses in, and it's dangerous for a moment, but cleared by Kay. And that is right on to Alex Bono, and he will catch it and roll it away. As two more Pittsburgh subs move into position to enter late in this match. Edwards. Cross in, looking for Rivas, out of his reach, and out for a goal kick. And the fourth official will use this opportunity to facilitate the substitutions. It's Tyler Pasher in for Kevin Kerr.
Number 11, Tyler Pasher.
Seems like we've got his whole family here for support.
And it's Seth Sidabaka as well entering, and Mike Green will be coming out. So two substitutions here for the Riverhounds. Brings them up to 3 for the evening. And we have under 5 minutes to go here in this match. 3-0 Pittsburgh over Toronto. Goals in the first half from from Rob Vincent and from Lebo Moloto. We were 2-0 at halftime, and a goal from Milo Chabrillo pushed that advantage to 3 for Pittsburgh. And for Toronto, there were a couple of opportunities in the opening half. Mobabuli with a free kick. Mobabuli with a header off a cross from Edwin Rivas. First one was saved by Gonzalez. The second one was just wide. And those opportunities could have drastically changed the landscape of this match. And Toronto has not mounted much of an attack in the second half. Hamilton. Now Rivas. Osorio. Crossed in for Edwards. And he gets a foot to it. But it was not well hit. Perhaps deflected as well. And it's wide of the goal. Thomas goes up, wins it for Toronto. Kay will power past his man. Hamilton, dispossessed by Sidabaka. This is out of bounds, and Toronto will throw.
And since that third goal, Matt, it seems like the communication on the pitch from Toronto is non-existent. A couple of times you hear Skylar from the back, but there's no telling each other where to go, what to do, man on, and that's something that, yes, you're frustrated, yes, you're down 3-0, but that has to remain the whole game to even play, at least play to the style that Bent wants and trying to create opportunities, but right now it's just, you can see how deflated this team is.
Long ball from Frazier. Edwards is the intended target and just unable to run onto it as Gonzalez was once again out at the edge of the 18-yard area and able to knock it away. Hunt takes a clip there from Obabuli and has gone down. And Babuli now will go help him back up. And a substitution again here for the Riverhounds. It's number 27, Sidney Rivera, coming in. And Rob Vincent, he's done his part tonight. He's pulled himself into sole possession of first place in the USL goal scoring race. He pocketed his 17th of the campaign in the 10th minute. And barring some late theatrics from Toronto, that will stand up as the game-winning goal as well. As we are into the 90th minute right now. And no real long injury delays here tonight. So I would hazard to guess only a couple of minutes of stoppage time added. Jordan Hamilton carries in. He goes down, and nothing coming from the official as Jordan Hamilton tumbled right over the sprawling body of defender Anthony Arena. It's out for a throw in here for Toronto.
The ref's going to have a couple words, I think, with Hamilton. But in that instance, it did look quite questionable. Was a dangerous tackle, was in the box, but I don't know if he wants to make that call in the final minutes of the game. But he was going at pace, so we'll see here if he does actually. Did look like a bit of cleats up, and I think in an instance you give that call, but the refs made the final decision, and that's it.
3
minutes out of time here. Toronto looking to break the shutout. Sharpie! Oh, and great play there. It's the defender, Danny Earls, who was behind Gonzalez right in the middle of the goal and knocked that away with the head. That was a strong strike from Wesley Sharpie, and that's a tremendous defensive play there from the captain, Danny Earls. Thrown in. Thomas unable to get a boot to it, and now kicked up pitch by Dahlman. And that is absolutely a goal-saving defensive play.
And for Sharpie, well-driven ball on a one-timer, perfectly placed. But Danny Earls just standing on his line, and very strong defensive play.
Bono. Thomas off the head. Edwards comes down. Arena sends it back the other way. Kay. Deflected off the head of the Pittsburgh player. Switch to the near side for Sharpie. Carries to the middle. Now finds Osorio. Chipped in. Hamilton comes down with it. Hamilton, his second touch. And then he tugs on the jersey of Tyler Pasher. And that's an easy call against Jordan Hamilton. And you can see the frustration from the young Toronto striker. We've got about a minute remaining here in the added time. We are approaching our full-time whistle here in Toronto. Thomas. Osorio, he is pulled down, and finally the referee pulls the whistle there, and Osorio will push it forward over for Kay. Babuli. Edwards comes down with it. Edwards scores! It's Raheem Edwards in stoppage time, pulls down the cross, and it's an excellent left-footed strike into the corner of the goal. And Toronto has broken the clean sheet. It is now 3-1.
By TFC to number 48, Raheem.
Great play by Edwards. Edwards getting put in late in this game, but he's been offensively dangerous, and you said he came into this game after playing well. So I think after that performance, we should be seeing him more on the pitch a lot more.
I would not be surprised to see him in the starting 11 shortly. Toronto is back in action on Wednesday. They will travel to Montreal. It's their first road game in quite some time, but not much of a road trip as they are just going down the 401 for the third installment of the 401 Derby. And of course, the fourth and final is the final game of the regular season here in the first weekend of September. But for Toronto, a little bit of a disappointing showing tonight. There was not a lot of energy in the game, not a lot of pace in the game, and other than a couple of opportunities in that first half, really didn't generate anything offensively.
You nailed it with all those points, and that's what I think Ben's going to say again, and it seems to be the consistent problem going forward. They're going to have to try and remain more consistent and capitalize on these opportunities. There's nothing else they're not doing completely wrong. They're able to compete with these teams. It's just teams are capitalizing when they create the opportunities. TFC isn't.
And a frustrating night for Quillen Roberts as well, as he is subbed off at halftime. Alex Bono allows 1 goal in the second half, so neither keeper, I'm sure, will be happy with their performance tonight. Once again, the final from Toronto, it is the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. 3 goals from Rob Vincent, Lebo Malotto, and Miro Chabrilo. Rob Vincent's goal in the 11th minute pushes him into the USL lead with 17 goals scored. Raheem Edwards, his first of the season. I believe his first of the season. We'll have to double check that, but it's Raheem Edwards with the goal. 3-1 is your final. We will be back with you on Saturday when Toronto FC2 returns home from their 1-game road trip in Montreal. It is a 3 o'clock start next Saturday. The Richmond Kickers are in town. That's another team in the thick of things in the Eastern Conference playoff race. So Toronto will have the opportunity to play spoiler and have an impact on who finishes where in that Eastern Conference race. Chantel and I will have the call for you on Saturday. It is, once again, a 3 o'clock start. For our entire technical and production crew, we thank you for joining us tonight. Have an excellent Saturday evening from Toronto.